Quick!
This Saturday, no fireworks, folks. Oh, Austin wants to do the pleasure of saying the number on this one. So this is for 4 lower level rain tickets and a small speed whack with leather conditioner. Go ahead, Austin.
977.620.
One more time, Austin.
977.620.
That's our boss. He's good on that.
Cop shot.
Hey guys, push your phones away. Push your phones away.
There you go.
That's the guy talking to me.
Oh, that's, yeah, I know it is.
This is Rochester.
Cop's gonna get sick though. He's sick to the stomach. I don't know.
All right, well, folks, we're going to go ahead and take a break here.
James McLeanis for Sheriff of Pinellas County. 2 HRS. The more I investigate, the more apparent it becomes that there is massive investigatory misconduct and a blatant cover-up taking place in this case. One example uncovered today. Within State Attorney Bernie McCabe's June 7, 2017 letter to Tarpon Springs Police Chief Cocken, exonerating Officer MacIsaac, he states the following: witnesses corroborated the allegation that Mr. Provenza had a knife or shank in his hands. Douglas Renker, Timothy Pendrise, and Deborah Tate all stated that on May 6, 2017, they were at the Cars for Charity event. While each had a different vantage point when they made their respective observations of the interaction between Officer MacIsaac and Provenza, collectively they stated that when Provenza charged towards the officer he had an object in his hand they thought was a knife or shank. Bernie McCabe, June 7, 17. These are the 3 witnesses that Bernie McCabe claimed he relied upon to prove that Nick Provenza had a knife or a shank in his hands when he was shot by MacIsaac. However, there are serious issues involved with relying upon any of these 3 witnesses. First is Douglas Renker, a Tarpon Springs Police 911 dispatcher who works with MacIsaac and clearly would have a bias in this situation. He described a 3-inch long object identical to the one photographed on the sidewalk where Nick dropped his bike. He was the man that startled MacIsaac by yelling that Nick was reaching in his pocket. He is not a trained officer, but likes to pretend he is one. Since he is directly and partially responsible for Nick's death, he has a self-interest in making sure the shooting was justified. The second witness, Timothy Pendrise, testified that Provenza had his back to him during the encounter so that he could not have seen what, if anything, was in his hands, that he was good friends with Sheriff Chris Naco, and that he couldn't even be sure what hand the supposed knife was in. He did, however, state the following: my biggest concern at that point was to make sure the officer doesn't talk to anybody and try to keep him kind of enclosed where nobody could get to him before law enforcement got to him. I know enough about law enforcement to know that an officer in a shooting is not to speak to anybody until the proper people arrive. So here we have a second pro-police witness whose first priority was protecting the officer who shot Nick from making any statements that incriminated himself. Is this an impartial witness? The third witness that McCabe relied upon is my favorite, Deborah Tate. Ms. Tate clearly testified that she saw a gun in Nick's hands. Here is her transcribed statements. The boy pulled out. And when it first come out I couldn't decide if it was a knife or a gun. Because when it come out there was only about 1.5 inches or 2 inches out the top of his hand and there wasn't much more out the bottom. So I couldn't decide if it were a knife or a gun. And then when I did get a closer look at it, I did realize that it was a gun. He, MacIsaac, went over to try and see how the boy was. She also stated and claimed that MacIsaac tried to give the boy CPR, which of course never happened. FDLE Jim Gao tries to correct her and reel her back in. I do want to clarify one thing, and you said it but you might have just slipped up, I'm not real sure, but when you said you saw the gentleman at the curb by the bicycle take something out of his pocket, you said you weren't sure what it was at first, if you though it was a knife or a gun, but later you determined it was a. Deborah Tate states clearly gun. Gao, you determined it was a gun later? Tate, yes Gao, why do you think that? Tate, because he stepped down off of the curb advancing towards the officer, and I got a good look at it. It was too thick to be a knife, it was probably as thick as my finger and the handle. If it was a knife it would have been really too thick and it would not have came, he'd have had to have had it at an awkward angle. Does that make sense? If it had been a knife he had the tip wrong. It was out the top. So two cop sympathizers, one a co-worker and the other someone that immediately tried to protect the officer from making any incriminating statements and who was observing Nick from behind. The third was an older woman who clearly testified under oath that Nick had a gun, and was most likely observing the sunglasses that numerous other witnesses stated they saw in his hands, but whose testimony was ignored by McCabe. Including two very close witnesses who saw MacIsaac kick the sunglasses out of Nick's hand. I would like for Bernie McCabe to answer the question, how is someone that testified under oath that she saw Nick Provenza had a gun in any way counted as someone who confirmed that Provenza had a knife, and how do you rely on that testimony to exonerate the shooter? The investigation continues.
With the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. Today's date is May 6th, 2017. Time is 6:32 p.m. and we're at the Tarpon Springs Police Department. Reference FDLE case number TM-27-0034, which is an investigation that began on May 6, 2017, and it occurred at Tarpon Avenue and Safford Avenue in Tarpon Springs, Florida. I'm conducting an interview of Officer Scott MacIsaac of the Tarpon Springs Police Department. Conducting the interview with me is FDLE Special Agent Chuck Masucci. Also present in the room is Attorney at Law Nicholas Fiorentino. He is BBA representative for Officer MacIsaac. For the record, I'd like to clarify that this is a voluntary statement being given by you as part of the criminal investigation into the use of force incident, and that you are not being compelled in any way to provide this statement. At any time, you are free to terminate these proceedings and leave. You can. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you understand that this voluntary statement is being taken as part of the criminal investigation, and that this is not an internal affairs administrative statement?
Yes.
All right, please raise your right hand. You swear the testimony you are about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay. Will you please state your full name and spell it for me?
Scott Charles MacIsaac, SCOTTCHARLES, MAC, capital ISAAC.
All right, and how long have you been employed with your agency?
Over 6 years.
6 years? And what is your current rank?
Officer.
All right. And what are your primary duties as an officer? Are you assigned to any particular unit?
Oh, I'm an FTO.
Okay. Field training officer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you're a uniformed officer as well, and you patrol in a marked car?
Marked car, yes.
All right. Any other duties or assignments related to your job right now?
No.
Okay. And you're dressed in a standard Tarpon Springs police officer's uniform,
Yes, sir.
with a patch on the above the left pocket, identifying yourself as a police officer. Do you wear a badge as well, or is that what you?
That's the badge.
Okay. And your uniform is adorned with two patches on either side of the sleeve. Were you wearing any gun belt today, and what kind of gear were you wearing?
My duty gun belt.
All right. You tell me what items you have on your gun belt.
Taser, handcuffs, 2 extra magazines, expandable baton, my duty weapon, flashlight, and pepper spray.
Okay. And you were wearing all those items today with your uniform?
Correct.
All right. How did your day begin today? What assignment did you have, and what capacity were you working?
I was working off-duty detail for the car show downtown.
Okay. You're working off-duty for a particular event or a vendor?
The car show.
Okay. Is that what it's called, the car show?
It was the breast cancer car show.
Okay. Is this something that you signed up with the department, or did they assign this duty to you?
I signed up for it with the department.
Okay. And this is something that's regulated or monitored by the department as
Yes.
far as your hours and everything?
Yes.
And what hours were you assigned to that detail today?
From 10 a.m. till 2 p.m.
Okay. And roughly what time did you show up today for the assignment?
Right around 10 a.m.
Okay. Did you report to anybody on site, or was there a person that you?
I over the radio, I advised that I was
Okay.
out there.
So dispatch would have you logging on with your credentials or your payroll number?
Yes.
Okay. So what were the duties of the off-duty job, and what did that encompass as relation to that intersection of Safford and Tarpon?
The car show went from PINELLAS Ave down to around Ring Avenue, which is just south of Safford, or sorry, east of Safford.
Okay.
Just cars lined up, and I just kind of walked around, make sure everything's okay.
All right. So your duties were to walk around the area and for safety and security?
Yes.
All right. So you came on around 10 o'clock. Were there any other officers assigned to this particular off-duty event, or?
Not during my time.
Okay. Were there any other officers assigned as to this detail that were regular duty?
No.
Okay. Were there any officers in the area prior to this incident?
Officer Hollingsworth was in the area. He was going to take over after I left at 2
Okay,
o'clock.
he was going to be working the off-duty after 2 p.m.
Yes.
All right. So take me through what happened today at the scene, or around the scene of Safford and Tarpon Avenue.
I was approached by a male. He said he worked, he owned or he worked a bookstore that was downtown. He said there was a guy that was acting kind of erratic in his store. He described him on an orange bike with a black hoodie. He said he's been bothering people. So I was up at the Mother Mears parking lot, which is basically Tarpon and PINELLAS, right there in the corner, in the southwest corner. I walked east down Tarpon Avenue, and as I hit the northwest corner of Safford and Tarpon, I met up with Doug, who's our dispatcher. He's also working with the car show. He's not an officer.
Was he off duty or on duty?
He was off duty. He does something with the car show. I don't know if this volunteers his time there or whatever. We started talking for a second. As I was talking to him, I looked southeast, and I observed a gentleman on an orange bike with a black hoodie on over his head, walking with a female, with brunette hair, brown hair female.
Okay.
So I walked over, Doug walked with me. I made contact with him as I was coming up to him, right in the corner of Safford and Tarpon there. The lady kind of walked by me, she's like, gave me that look like something strange with this kid or whatever, and she walked on. I made contact with him, asked his name, he gave me Liam something or other, Thompson or something, date of birth. I ran it over the radio. Nothing. It was a fake name. So I asked him his name again, and he blurted out his name, and I said, hold on, I gotta write it down. And I asked him to spell his last name, and he said it's provolone, like the cheese. I'm like, that's not your last name, that's not what you said a second ago. And he started getting, kind of moving around a little bit, and saying stuff like, I just want to go, and you scare me. I'm like, why do I scare you? Just kind of getting a little squirrely. So he finally gave me the spelling of his name. As I got in the radio to say, spell his last name, I was looking down at my pad. I heard Doug yell, "Get out of your hands out of your pocket, hands out of your pocket." I look up and he's got his left hand in his pocket. He's reached, I'm like, "Get your hands out." As I started to go for him, he starts backpedaling. He's on the bike, starts backpedaling, reaches out what I believe is a knife, drops the bike, puts it in his right hand and says, "You're not going to ruin my dreams, you're not going to ruin my dreams," and started coming at me. I started backing up. I drew my weapon. I said, "Drop the knife, drop the knife." He still continued at me. I fired one round, still continued at me. Fired another round, still continued at me. The third round, he went down.
Okay. When you first heard about this individual, who was it you said you heard this from? One of the shop owners?
Yeah, he's a shop owner or a shop employee. I'm not sure which one he was. He just said that he was in a bookstore. He worked in a bookstore.
Okay. Would that be the Mad Hatter? There's a bookstore, I believe, right there.
I don't know. He didn't specify the name of the business.
Okay. So, this person, did they give you a good description of this guy? And did they say what he had said or how he was acting?
No.
All right. When you first encountered him, where did you see him again?
He was walking westbound up Tarpon Avenue on the southeast, sidewalk by the Currents restaurant right there, right around that area.
Okay. He was walking his bike, or was he riding it? Do you know?
I can't remember.
All right. And when you stopped him, where approximately was he?
Right on that corner.
All right. Did you give him an order to stop, or hey, I need to talk to you? What did you say?
I didn't talk to you. I said, we get complaints about you bothering people.
Okay. What did he reply with?
Me?
All right. And when you first ran him, you said on the radio you keyed your mic. Did you have a shoulder mic or
Right here.
like a lapel mic?
Yeah,
Okay.
I have an earpiece.
All right. So he's standing how far from you when you're radioing?
2 feet.
Okay. And did he make any comments when you reached for your mic or? Okay. What happened when you gave the name of this individual? Did you give that over a primary frequency, or was that a? Okay. And they run person on that primary frequency? Okay. All right. So, at what point did he make any movements towards his waist or his pocket?
After he gave me the second name he gave me.
Okay.
Which I believe is his real name. I don't.
All right. And what did you see him do?
I saw him reaching in his left hand in his pocket.
With his left hand?
Yes.
All right. And describe the object that he removed or you saw in his hand.
It was a silver object. I believe it was made on a knife.
Okay. Did it look like a particular type of knife?
Right.
Okay. And did he make any statements when he pulled it out at that time?
He was just backing up, and then he stopped, dropped his bike, and he said, "You're not going to ruin my dream, or you're not going to ruin my dreams."
All right. And what did he do next with this item that you thought was a knife?
He put it in his right hand, and he started coming at me. Started coming at me.
All right. You indicated he had it in his hand. Do you know whether it was the blade down or with the blade up?
I don't recall this time.
Okay. And where did he put his hand when he switched to his right hand? Where did he raise it up above a certain level? Or?
I just remember him raising his hand up.
Okay.
With the object in his hand.
Did he make any threatening statements to you when he had the knife up?
Just, "You're not going to ruin my dreams."
Okay. And what was your response when you saw him switch the knife to his right hand and drop his bike?
It just happened so fast.
Okay.
And he started coming towards me.
Right. What were your first statements to him when he
Dropped the knife, I believe it was.
Okay. And Did he make any, when did he make any steps towards you? Were you
Yes,
standing still or were you backing up?
I was standing still. When he started going backwards, I started going at him, and then when he dropped it, I saw that his hand, I started backpedaling.
Okay. And at what point did you draw your weapon?
When he started coming at me.
Okay. And what did you do with your firearm after you drew it?
I advised him to drop the knife.
Okay. At what point did you start firing your weapon?
He was just coming at me, and he's obviously faster going forward than I am backwards, started approaching me, and then I fired the first round.
Okay. When that first round, do you know whether you had any effect on him?
I don't think it did because he still kept coming at me.
Okay. And at that point, when he's coming, are you staying still or are you moving forward or backwards?
I believe I was moving backwards.
Okay. And do you know how long after the first shot that you continue with another shot?
I don't know.
Okay. And the second round, do you know whether that one had any effect on?
He still came at me.
Okay. And did you fire again?
I fired the third shot, yes.
All right. So, do you know how much time was between the first, second, and third shot?
I mean, enough to see that he was still coming at me, so that he didn't drop.
Do you recall whether that third shot had any effect on?
That's when he fell after the third shot.
All right. Could you tell where you struck him in relation to his body?
Yes, it was.
All right.
Center.
Your center
Center mass.
center mass.
Because I did see blood.
Okay. Did he make any movements with the knife after you began firing?
He still
first
coming
shot.
at me.
Did he make any movements with the knife that you saw, like raising it? Or?
I don't recall.
Okay. Did you ever see him drop a weapon?
No.
Okay. And when he hit the ground, did he fall forward or he fall backwards? Do you remember?
I think he was kind of straight down.
Okay. Did he make any statements after that?
No.
No. Okay. What did you do then?
I holstered my weapon and I got on the radio and said, shots fired, shots fired.
All right. Did you call for any
I called for
ambulance?
EMS, yes.
All right. Did you provide any rescue attempts?
I did not. I was trying to watch the crowd and everything else around me. And
Understandable. Understandable. And did you ever see a weapon on the ground near the
Yes.
victim? All right. What did you see, and at what point did you see it?
I just went over and looked over him and I saw appeared to be a metal something hanging off him. Like I couldn't see. I think he was kind of on top of it, so I saw a piece of metal like hanging like that.
Okay. Do you know who retrieved that weapon?
I do not.
All right. Who was the first officer that came on scene, or first Tarpon Springs Police Department personnel?
I'm trying to. The first person I saw was either Sergeant Crawford or it was Officer Rose and Officer Gomez. I remember seeing them all, but I don't remember right now who was first.
Okay. Were any of them witnesses to what happened, or what was said? Okay.
I have a couple questions. I'll ask them backwards. When you fired your gun the first time, why'd you fire it?
He had a deadly weapon in his hand coming at me. Fear for my life.
Okay. When you fired it the second time, continuing threat?
Yes.
After you fired the third shot, why did you stop firing?
Because he went to the ground.
Can I paraphrase that as you felt the threat was stopped?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All the way back to your qualifications, is this your first police department?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What type of handgun do you carry?
Glock 21, 45 caliber.
Okay. How many rounds? How many rounds do you carry in it?
The gun itself?
Yeah.
13.
13.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And You're qualified with that currently?
Yes,
Do you remember the last time you qualified?
we just got them, they're new, I believe, 3 or 4 months ago.
Okay. Off-duty job, did you bring a personal vehicle, or did you bring a law enforcement vehicle?
Law enforcement vehicle.
Okay, and it's a marked unit?
Yes, sir. It's my side vehicle.
Where was that in proximity to this intersection?
It was up on PINELLAS Ave, just south of Tarpon Ave, south of the intersection of the turn lane. I just parked behind the cones there.
Okay. It's my terminology, I don't know if it's yours, you had basically a consensual encounter with this guy based on an alert from a citizen.
Yes, sir.
Do you think there's any misunderstanding that you presented yourself as a law enforcement officer? It was very clear to you?
That was law enforcement officer? Yes, sir.
Yes. Your uniform, your demeanor?
Yes, sir.
Could you draw me just a quick sketch? You don't have to be an artist or anything.
I'm
Just
not
draw
very
me.
good drawing.
What's that?
I'm not a very good drawer.
I'm not either. If you just draw the intersection, just so I know approximately where you were when you first encountered him. And just, if you would, label streets. Doesn't have to be, and it's not to scale, of course.
Right.
This gives me a better idea of which point where you were when it happened.
I'll do.
And if you would indicate which it is north.
This is Safford. It's horrible. Where you want?
Just, if you would, put a mark or circle, an X, where you were. That's
Okay,
pretty
contact
much where
zone?
you were standing?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You're indicating on the, that would be southeast corner of Tarpon Avenue and Safford Avenue. All right, where was the victim, individual that you encountered, where was he when you first saw him? When you first saw him?
He was walking.
Okay, you're indicating he was walking west on Tarpon.
On the sidewalk.
Okay, on the sidewalk. Where did you have the encounter with the initial
encounter?
encounter when you talked to him?
Right here in this corner.
Okay, so you're both, if you could indicate an O or a circle where he was standing
Circle,
in
yes.
relation to where you were, yeah, where you first encountered.
He was probably standing here, and I was probably standing right about there.
Okay, so he's on the sidewalk, you were just on the,
Yeah, it was
just in the street, or near the
right,
street.
Yeah.
All right, and when he started to make a indication that he was not complying or reached into his pocket, and you said he backed, or went like a backpedaled with his bike, which direction did he go? Okay, that's back towards the southeast, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so if you're standing here, or in this area,
Yeah, because I moved up onto the sidewalk.
okay, so you are moving towards him.
Yes.
You're not sure whether he's trying to get away or what he's doing at that point, correct?
Correct.
And when you began firing, were you pretty much in this general area, or were you
I would say
moved?
I had moved. I decided backpedal, so it was probably
Okay,
right around in here somewhere.
so you were backpedaling or walking backwards from the corner, and from this point, would you say that's approximately where you began to fire your first shot?
Approximately, I can't.
Okay, like I say, nothing's to scale, it's just
Right. Right.
in your point of view at this point. And where was this person that you encountered, where was he moving, in which direction?
My direction.
Okay,
So that would be.
all right. And Where did you end up approximately after the last round was fired?
Probably like right around in here. Maybe, somewhere like right around there.
All right. If you could mark maybe a 1 for where, or actually right here where you started,
Mm-hmm.
and then maybe a 2, and a 3, so we can have a reference point. So this 1 would indicate where you first encountered this person. 2 would indicate approximately where you began firing your first round, and 3 would be where you fired your last round, approximately.
Yes.
Okay. And where, in relation to these reference points, would the person, the victim, have?
Probably 3 feet, 4 feet in front of me.
Whereabouts would he have landed or fallen?
Oh. Probably right about there.
Okay. And is this X here that you marked near reference point number 3, location where you found what you thought was a knife?
Near his body, yes.
Okay. All right. Anything you want to add to this, Tiger?
Nope.
Okay.
Just a couple other public safety issues. Were there any other citizens in between you and this guy at the time you pulled your weapon?
Between us, no.
Okay. I'll leave it at that.
Is there anything else that you would like to add that I haven't asked you?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay. And you realize you could, if in a day or 2 days or whatever, after you had time to process everything, that you can come back and we'll re-interview you if you have something you want to add or something is more clarified in your mind that you want to amend or is more clear to you down the road. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Any other questions? You have any questions, sir? All right, we're going to conclude this interview at 6:59 p.m.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Hey, Sheriff, we have a question about why your office, your intelligence division, is investigating private citizens for criminal investigation that happen to be activists that are overseeing your department? Why would you have your intelligence division investigate private citizens? We have done...
For life hating so much.
Sir, we don't hate anyone. We love freedom and we love American people. And government is out of control. That's why you're seeing such a revolt nationwide. Why can't you just answer, why is Susan Edwards, your intelligence division, investigating private citizens? This should not happen.
Are you here to apply for a job?
Possibly I might be applying for a job, but that's irrelevant to my question. Why would you ask that question?
Well, enjoy the fair.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Excuse you?
Excuse me, sir.
So those of you that haven't
Wow.
been on a bike before, we're
Sheriff's
just
getting a little too pushy. You work for us, Sheriff. Just keep that in mind. At one time we respected you, but not with that type of attitude.
Hey Charlotte County, this is Charlotte County COPWATCH, and I found that I had to make a change this ending on my videos, letting you know about the channel and fair use laws, you know, how we can report on other people's reporting and how it's good, how it's bad, etc. But you guys can look it up yourself. It is legal. It's in there. But like I've told you before, that I've been cut off from making money on YouTube for 4 years. It's really weird, bizarre, but they cut the money off, but they said you can keep the channel, and now YouTube makes all the money. And if you get bored, plug it into Social Blade website, and you'll see that they are making a huge amount off the site. Right now it's at 63 million views, 53,000 subscribers, almost 3 million views a month. You know, trying to wake people up, and I make nothing. In fact, I got a customer that's ex-congressman. He said if I could ever find a lawyer, sue YouTube on it. But because this is nuts. 4 hours a day, and to save America. You know, but at the same time, it's worth it. Look at what our founding fathers did. They died for this country. So, but getting back to the money part, this is why I'm redoing the video. Is my dream of everyone giving $1, and it's going to be $53,000 a year, or if they did Patreon, which you know, can be monthly. That is not working. That'd be great if it did. Nothing is perfect. And I appreciate the people that do donate, you know, what they can on PayPal. And there again, I'm letting you guys know that is not much. Is, you know, monthly is, oh my god. So anyways, yes, you cannot live on it. It's very, very, very low amount. But the dollar things, I do appreciate that. But when I first said everybody give $1, that's not working. I'm just I'm just letting you guys know it's, yeah, that dream. Everybody gives $1. 53,000 subscribers, it's not working. So yes, if you can give more than that, you know, I appreciate it. Like I said, you know, I'm in a unique situation where, you know, we're already debt free, and I'm not rich, but with the little business that we have, I am able to do what I am able to do 45 hours a day, you know, letting you guys know what's going on. In 4 years, I've did the whole thing myself. 12,000 videos on there. I literally get emails where people are like, holy crap, I never knew it was this bad. And it is this bad, and it's getting worse every day because we have the internet, we have cell phones, we have cameras everywhere now, and it's just disgusting what's going on. And then, as you guys know too, now we got Trump, we got Jeff Sessions doing a war on drugs, and now he wants to go after the forfeiture laws again. It's just unfreaking real. So if you can give more than that dream of everybody giving $1, yeah, that old video, that's not working. They're not. They're just not. So anyways, if you can give more than that dream is not working. Hardly anybody is giving. There you go. So that's why I'm remaking the video. If you can give more than that would be great. And there again, like I said, the Patreon's there. There is some people on there that are starting to give, but there again, it's very, very low. And like I said, I don't want to get rich off of that. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing because, you know, it's still so stinking corrupt. It's not even funny. My court case that I'm going to be paying out of my pocket myself with Charlotte County's coming up. They illegally looked me up and then posted all my information on LEOAFFAIRS website. They basically doxed me, however you want to say that. I forget what the word is, and they outed me, man. And that information on that site went out to 500 sheriffs, deputies, people that work at the jail, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, it is very, very scary, but we're going to do a federal case, 1983 case, violating freedom of speech. We have 17 cameras in the house now. We got 2 cameras in the car. I always carry a camera plus a cell phone. A lot of people are highly recommending I get a vest now. If I could, if the wife would let me, I would run for sheriff. We are trying to push the thing nationwide right now, where just to mix it up and to get the topics out there is register to run for sheriff, NPA, no party affiliation, as a write-in, and that is completely free, and you can participate in the elections. And there's a lot of stuff. We got a guy, James McLinnis in Pinellas County, Tampa, who almost won. He experienced the corruption himself. The story is unbelievable. Look him up. It's mind-blowing what they did. It pissed him off. He is very, very smart. He has way more money than I did. He ran for sheriff at the last 3 months last year in 2016 and almost won. He got all of the black vote. And the reason why he did that is because he ran on, I will not bust, we're in Florida, I will not bust anybody for weed anymore unless it's an ungodly huge amount, like pounds. And then he also ran on no more victimless crimes, no more of this freaking road pirate bull crap. And then he was going to cut the budget by 30%. And when you think about that, you can. If you stop the road pirates, you can get rid of a bunch of people. Gone. So, the wife has been saying, yes, I can, yes, I can't. So I don't know. We're trying to find somebody that can do it because I am busy doing this anyways. But, so I'm making a video, like I said, that $1 a month from everybody, you know, for 53,000 subscribers, that is not working. I'm just letting you guys know. Absolutely give way more than $1 a month. If you can, I appreciate anything. By the way, remember too, when you give that, PayPal takes like freaking 15 to 20%, so it's even worse than that. But, and there again, like I'm letting you guys know, it's way, what I get is very, very low. Appreciate it, but it is very, very low. Can't live on it. I'm just, I'm working, and that's what I'm working on. And that court case is going to cost a buttload of money. That's federal court. Just the filing fees and the depositions that we're going to be doing with this corrupt cop. So there's another reason to give. We are going to be doing a deposition with this very corrupt. He was in a drug squad. He is a bad guy. He's on steroids. We heard steroids are rampant here. That's why their attitude is so bad. And we are going to get him on video, and it will be on YouTube. So that case alone is $5,000 just to bring it to court, and that's my money out of my pocket. So there's another reason to give, and give way more than $1 if you can. So keep that in mind. This is the new video, and I see, God, I talk a lot. It's already 7 minutes, but had to make it just to let you know the $1 a month from everybody is not working. They're not doing it. So if you can give more than that, please. So thanks. Keep it up. Share, like, subscribe, tell your friends, send me your videos on corruption, and I'll post it.